Be worried about the Bears.
The thing that you must be most concerned with in life at times isn't talent. It's not necessarily ability. It's not necessarily height, weight, or anything that you can quantify. It's hope. If somebody has hope, somebody is lethal. If somebody has hope, they should be feared. And the problem is when the Saints play teams, particularly in the playoffs, they give you hope. Just enough hope to think you can win. Last year's playoffs against the Vikings, Saints were hosting that game. The Vikings had hope. They hung around. Then in overtime, Kirk Cousins marches down the field, finds Kyle Rudolph, game over. The year before, the Rams stayed close enough in that game. They gave them some hope. The game goes into overtime. Greg Zuerlein, 57-yard field goal, and they won that game. The year before, the Saints play the Vikings again. Saints let the Vikings hang around, gave the Vikings some hope. Next thing you know, Case Keenum, Minnesota Miracle, he finds Diggs, touchdown. The Vikings win that game. What I've learned about the Saints, although they are often superiorly talented, they give teams hope. And you cannot give a team that has less talent than you hope, because hope is actually more lethal than talent itself. So I think that the Saints should be worried about the Bears, because if you give the Bears hope, please believe the Bears will find a way to knock you out. Mitch Trubisky, last 4 games, passer rating above 97. That's the longest streak, the hottest streak of his career. Mitch Trubisky, since he came back in Week 12 as a starter, 70% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 11 total touchdowns if you include his one on the run. Matt Nagy, the head coach of the Chicago Bears, finally figuring out, hey, Mitch, he's not necessarily your pocket passer. Put him on the move. So unless the Saints take away that hope early on, which they just haven't shown an ability to do, then the Saints definitely should be worried about the Bears.
Yes, yes, yes. We are singing the same song. Shout out Digital on the ground right there. I love your take on hope. We have the same audiobooks, I guess, in the collection right now. Hope is intense, intent, desire, how it changes your world. Love you for that. All right, let's talk about this game. And it's going to be a closer game than expected. Like you said, the Saints just find a way, or Drew Brees finds a way to not necessarily play up to his standard, to his potential. Let's talk about Drew Brees, who was 8-8 in his career playoff games. Drew Brees? Really? 8-8? Okay. Well, at least you got 16 opportunities, but you would think Drew Brees was skewed toward more positive numbers than just average numbers. How about being 1-2 in his last 3 playoff games? All 3 were at home, but look at these numbers right here. 301 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, 103 rating. Yay! But then, we're going the wrong way. Drew Brees, 249, 88 rating. How about 208, 90 rating? Drew Brees? That's not Drew Brees football. And then we all go back to the moment. We all felt it when we were looking at Drew Brees last year, Minnesota game. We were like, Drew Brees is the 3rd best quarterback on this field right now, including his backup looking better than him. So I look at it as a situation. Drew Brees has not been himself since returning from the injury this year. Got to remember, before the injury, 73 completion percentage. After the injury, 60 completion percentage. And then you look at what you said about Chicago. And Mr. Trubisky, well documented, you just stated all that. But don't forget my boy David Montgomery.
Talk about it.
Where'd he come from?
Yes, sir.
I always believed in his ability, but I got scared to say it because he was so inconsistent and wasn't flashing it for the fullness. Since week 12, in NFL ranks in scrimmage yards, rush yards, touchdowns, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd. He's balling. Right now, Mr. Trubisky has support. And then if they meet a Saints team that likes to let teams hang around, even upset them, or Drew Brees doesn't play up to standard, this could be a close one.
Now, look, they don't just pay us, though, Sel, to be entertainers. They pay us to be analysts. You did your analyst part. Let me do my analyst part as well. Okay. I'm going to give y'all something that y'all can talk about with the water cooler. Here's the biggest issue at hand. The Saints are very efficient, but they are not very explosive. The Saints' offense is incredibly efficient, but it's not incredibly explosive. Why does that matter? Because the more efficient you are, it means that typically you'll get to that byproduct, but it'll take you longer to get there. It'll take you longer to get to the outcome that explosive offense will get to. The longer it takes you to get to that outcome, the longer the Bears are in the game. If you let the Bears hang around in that game, then they'll find a way to clip you. Think about it. The Bears went up against the Packers 7-0. Packers tied a game up 7-7. Bears go up 10-7. All of a sudden, Packers have the ball back. What's going to happen? Aaron Rodgers finds Valdez-Scantling, 72-yard touchdown, and just like that, the doors blew off. Packers end up running away with a 35-16 final score. The Bears were in that game for a little bit, throwing punches, body shots, body shots. But the Packers came out with the haymaker and sent the Bears to the canvas. The issue with the Saints, particularly in this matchup, is will they have the haymaker to knockout blow? As I look at it, Saints only had 2 plays of 50 yards or more this season. That was second worst, only team with fewer, the New England Patriots. If the Saints let these Bears hang around, you better watch out. They might end up winning by decision.